Yeah, I mean, I think we've had a good week or so, 2 weeks of developmental work and just kind of staying sharp. Not necessarily game plan for Tennessee as we just hopped into it yesterday. So guys just staying sharp, younger guys getting reps and continuing to just have fun out there being with the guys another month.
A little bit of relief when you learned that Coach DeBoer will still be calling the plays?
For sure, yeah. I mean, Coach DeBoer has been monumental in my development as a player and as a person. And to be able to have another game with him means the world. It's awesome. Says a lot about him that he was willing to come back and wanted to be a part of this one.
How do you feel the younger guys, obviously for the older guys, there's only a few of you that were part of the full experience, the last time you guys went. How do you feel the younger guys who haven't done this before, their mindset's been since you come back to practice?
Yeah, I think it's a learning process for sure. Just kind of going all the way back to like a spring ball practice, and you're just kind of going out there, and you're not necessarily preparing for anything, but you're just going out and trying to get better. That can be hard at times, and I think the guys, the first couple of days were kind of getting used to that whole process of just going out and playing football just to get better. And it's been good for them to learn, I think, as they will obviously have to go through spring ball and that whole process. So I think it's been good for those younger guys to kind of develop in that way.
I think I was talking to your basketball coach from high school, and he said that you were actually really late coming to a Florida tournament you guys were at. You were late coming to a team dinner because you were watching the IU's bowl game.
Yeah, that was
so obsessed with it.
Yeah, that was when we were playing Duke, and we were down in Florida for just a little holiday tournament, and we had like mandatory meals when we were down there, and was watching that game. I was committed already, getting ready to sign. I think a month or so later. So, yeah, I mean, ever since I gave my commitment here, I've kind of been locked in and really focused in on it, and I think that's a cool little story.
Yeah. So I mean, what does it mean to you to actually be playing in a bowl game now? I mean, you were watching them all those years ago.
Yeah, and then I was on the team when we went out to San Francisco, but obviously didn't play in it. And I think to get back after not being in a bowl game for a couple years means a lot. To be a part of it and be playing good football, winning games. That's what it's all about. Just having fun, and it's been such a fun ride, such a fun journey this year. And the plan is to keep it rolling and go get a win in Florida.
I guess where you kind of, it doesn't seem like you're late very often. So I mean, when you were watching that game and it's going into fourth quarter late, I mean, were you kind of worried that you were late, or you just like locked in on this?
Yeah, I think everybody kind of understood what was going on there. I've always been more of a football first guy. Obviously love basketball, love playing, love competing more than anything, but yeah, not late very often at all. I think my teammates, my coaches kind of knew that took priority over a meal on that particular night. So yeah, I mean, not late often, but just that one night.
It's kind of this experience from the last bowl that you were here for. How, I guess, comparing and contrasting that, obviously you're going as a starting quarterback this time, but just in preparation leading up to the bowl, how has it kind of changed, especially with the bowl being about a week later than the other one was?
Yeah, I mean, I think younger guys getting a lot more reps, and obviously seeing Jack out there getting some more reps and watching his growth as he's developed just as a leader, as a player, just as a thinker. It's been cool to see because sometimes when you're in the game plan thing, it's hard to see how far guys have really come since the fall. And now when we're just out there playing football and having fun, he's the first guy that comes to mind, obviously, just because we're together, we're watching film together all the time, and he's not the only one. I mean, David Ellis is another guy that comes to mind. Just those young guys, Miles Marshall, just continuing to learn and grow and get better has been a really cool thing to see.
Coach Allen mentioned the wideouts being able to kind of get a lot of work here, and kind of in the same vein that you mentioned, how much the fall did help them. How much did you notice some of the younger wideouts kind of making those strides?
Yeah, and I think those two guys that I just mentioned, David and Miles, I mean, we already knew about Wap and Nick, Ty, D-Hill, and those guys, but those two guys, and then a guy like Christian Harris coming along and developing, and yeah, I mean, there's a clear difference from their mindset heading into the season, week one, and where it is now. They're just so much more comfortable and confident because they've played and they've made big plays and big catches in games that have truly mattered to us. And I think overall just their mindset has changed, and they know that we rely on them. and they kind of take that upon themselves to make sure that they come out and practice hard every single day.
I think you guys just started the prep, but anything when you've watched Tennessee on film, the defense, anything that kind of stands out about them, or you kind of look at it and say, hey, that's going to be something we're going to kind of work through?
Yeah, I think I would just say they're an athletic, big physical defense, big up front, really big up front. But we've seen those kinds of things, and we'll just have to game plan around that. They're got a lot of starts at linebacker. They got one guy who's been there for a long time, and then one true freshman who started all year long. So a physical group of dudes there, and athletic on the back end. So I guess you could say comparable to what we've seen all year. And we'll game plan to find ways to try to beat them.
You might see a lot of Samson James in this game. He seemed to make a nice leap at the end of the year before he got hurt. Was that something you saw all year in practice, or was it just a matter of doing it in games? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that we saw dating all the way back to fall camp, and giving him the ball, and he's obviously a big physical runner. It's not afraid to put his head down and get some extra yards. He's always falling forward. Obviously, it's hard to see that a little bit during the season when we're game planning certain things and we're not necessarily going live, but it's something that we knew he was capable of. Obviously a freaky weight room guy, super big and strong, so to see him come on like that was awesome for him, but something that we knew was coming.
Another thing, Peyton Hendershot, you're always out there first with him. Peyton said maybe he grabbed you, was it during fall camp or whatever, because he wanted to get more reps in. When you guys come out early, is it him grabbing you or you grabbing him, or why do you?
He would grab me, and he told me he wanted to get some extra catches, and to me that was an awesome thing, because when I was a young guy, that was something that I always did. I always say after practice and tried to get some extra throws in. And, I think it speaks a lot to his maturity, because it's something that he never would have done in the past. And he'll be the first one to tell you that. He was always, the last one out on the practice field and one of the first guys in. But now his mindset has completely changed, just his willingness to get better and grow. And now it's kind of just an understood thing that we're going to get some extra work, because that's what we do. There doesn't really have to be a reason why. It's just what we kind of do. And his growth has been monumental in our success this year. It's helped us so much the way he's played, and been a target, been a good blocker for us in this offense.
One of the first practices we got to talk to guys, he talked to him, and he mentioned the third down play in the second overtime against Purdue, and how he instantly knew he would be wide open as soon as he saw what they were in. Does that kind of go back to his growth as a player, not only on the field, but what he's been doing off the field, to recognize that stuff when he lines up?
I think so. I don't think in the past he ever would have told you that he knew he was going to be wide open. I think he would just run his route, and if the ball came to him, he's going to catch it and try to get as many yards as he can. But just understanding, finding space in the defense and sitting in those zones and finding those holes. He's gotten so much better. I can't say enough about that. He really has been such a big part of our offense and why we've had success.
With his growth, how much does that make your job easier as a quarterback, knowing that you have a big body in the middle of the field who's also athletic, and knowing that he is working the way that he is to get to that point?
Yeah, he's a good safety valve. He's going to go up and be able to catch contested passes, and that he's a big body that he can box out guys, and if you need to just kind of put one on him if there's pressure coming or whatever it may be, it does make my job easier. Just having a tight end that's able to do those kinds of things. It's almost another wide receiver out there. It's a weapon. It really is, and he's been so helpful.
You mentioned Miles Marshall. Obviously, he played quite a bit with Donovan Hale out against Purdue, and obviously in this game you'll have to do the same. How much more trust have you gained in him, and what have you seen from him as the season's gone along and he's played more and more?
Yeah, as it's gone on, I think he's kind of the same way. I think just his IQ and just finding space and understanding what we're trying to do, and even if he's not necessarily the first guy in the progression, he understands that he's got to maybe clear a guy out or get in this certain area to create a little bit more space. And he's continued to do that through bowl practice, and been one of those guys out there that you can definitely count on and rely on when we need a big time catch. He had a big catch in overtime against Purdue. He had another big catch. Just thinking back to the Purdue game, and just his development has been awesome.
Have you seen much film yet of Tennessee?
Yeah, I've watched quite a bit.
Early impressions?
They're good. They're a good defense. I think they've gotten better as the year has gone on. A good team, and we'll definitely have to go play our best. You know, big physical guys, well coached, do a lot of different things. So we'll have to be locked in. We'll have to continue to prepare and put a good plan in place.
All right, Peyton, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.